AgweekTV weather is brought to you by Kaler Farms.
Hey everyone, meteorologist Aaron White here, and thanks for joining us on this week's portion of Ag Week Weather. You know, with 2015 coming to a close and about to start 2016, let's get into a recap of what happened across the nation in 2015. Talking about precipitation, some of the more active weather, the more heavier rainfall was well across the south. If you remember back in the spring into the summer across Texas and Oklahoma, they were dealing with a drought at one time, but then they got quite a bit of rainfall and actually dealt with a lot of flooding. So some of the more active weather down to the south. Meanwhile, in the west, that drought has been very persistent, and it does look like it's going to persist into 2016. California having some very dry conditions, even up into Oregon and parts of Washington. Meanwhile, rainy down in the south, dry for the southeast, and kind of a mix in between dry and sometimes wet conditions across the Midwest. And I think that kind of pattern is going to continue going into 2016. But as we look at the drought monitor, this is for this week, we still have that drought in the western U.S. That does include California up to Washington. You'll notice the red and darker red in there. That is the severe to exceptional drought, so very bad conditions across California. That's been going on for quite some time, so hopefully they can get some rainfall in there. And it does look like they have had a little bit of the past couple of weeks, but with El Nino building in, that does mean a pretty mild winter for much of the northern part of the U.S. However, there is going to be, across the southern tier of the U.S., that does look like it's going to stay rather active in terms of some more active precipitation, rain, or possibly even snow if we get some colder outbreaks. But talking about El Nino, that's all based on the warm waters in the Pacific. Very warm waters this year, so typically we get El Ninos periodically, but this year, very warm waters, so that's going to have an influence on our weather this winter across the U.S. But looking at the jet stream, more of the subtropical jet stream going across the southern U.S., so they're going to get some active weather, some rainy conditions. Meanwhile, to the north, that is actually going to keep some of the polar air to our north, so we are in store for somewhat of a mild winter. And again, meanwhile, down south, a bit stormy, so they're going to see some more rainfall and hopefully get some more rainfall into California. But talking about 2016, what's coming up, it does, again, look like it's going to be rainy into the southern part of the U.S. We're looking at rainfall from Texas to the southeast, and then some more active weather, not so much in the western part of the U.S., that drought across California into parts of Washington and Oregon. That looks like it's going to continue into 2016 with some chances of rainfall here and there. Then talking about the Midwest, that's still kind of up in the air. It has been somewhat active for the past couple of weeks. That trend is going to continue into 2016 as well, but also the mild weather will continue across the north while it does stay fairly wet across the southern part of the U.S.